The world's #1 streaming music station, Boxwave.com.
We have your favorite shows on Boxwave.com. Check out our lineup. The Kim Show, Mondays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. In the End We Win with Curtis, Mondays, 8:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Cooking with Flavors with your host, Chef Flavors, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Slick Daddy Rick, Heartbeat Congo Hour, Tuesday, 8 to 10 p.m. Impact the World Radio TV Show with Cheryl Woods, Wednesday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. The Digital Digest with your host, Digital Ace, Wednesdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Live Set Wednesdays with your host, Frank Dent, Wednesdays, 8 to 9 p.m. The BGKH Show with your hosts, Dominion and Epic, Wednesdays, 9:15 to 10:15 p.m. You, Math, and Me with George Randall, Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Then, on Thursdays at 5:30 p.m., The Prayer, Praise, and Deliverance with Elder Thurman Gorman Jr., The 640 Evening Show, Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Peace in the Morning Show with your host, Darius A. Stan, co-host, Delicate Daryl Barnes, and Queen Ayakidobi, Fridays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Hall Street Journal with your host, Robert Hall, and co-host Clarence Sanders, Fridays, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Frank, The Success Principles, Friday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Chanel's 3 Cents, Friday, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. The Daryl Allen Harrison II Crime Victims Foundation Show, hosted by Daryl Harrison II, every Friday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. The Rush Hour with DJ Drew and Janique, every Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Different Minds Show, hosted by DJ Bam 640 and DJ Andre Michael, and your co-host, MC Fran, every Friday, 9:15 p.m. to 11:15 p.m. The Healer Blues Show, with host Ron Jackson, every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Hour of Power, with your host, Reverend Winters Rogers, every Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And again, The Prayer, Praise, and Deliverance with Elder Thurman Gorman Jr., Saturday, 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. And don't forget Four Sisters Live Talk, Saturday at 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Turning dreams into reality talk show with your host, Tashika L. Green, every second Saturday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Walk in Newness 24/7 with Missionary Antoinette, Saturdays, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. News, ULM, news and analysis, information, sports, and Black history. With your news anchor, Roderick Carter Willis, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Step your game up with the Youth Project, hosted by DJ Main and DJ Low Hefe, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And don't miss The To Go Show with Kim Brown, Saturdays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I am Dr. Sharon Show, each Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., featuring The Grind, Entrepreneur Network Spotlight, and Write the Book Now. The Riri Williams Show, Fashion and Style Hour, every first Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Real Talk 101, Sundays, 6 to 8 p.m. And every third Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m., the Third Sunday Tea Talk Show with Dr. Akita Pearson. Gospel Live TV Show with host Gloria Mello, each Sunday from 8:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Listen to all your favorite shows on Voxwave.com.
Voxwave.com.
Voxwave.com, streaming your favorite jazz, blues, and R&B 24/7.
Before I even face the fight, not moved by what I see. I walk by faith and not by sight. All power and authority is given unto me. 'Cause when you're on God's side, we
Good evening, and welcome to In the End We Win with Curtis. I apologize for last week's technical difficulties, but tonight we're going to have a fantastic show. It's going to be awesome. Before we jump right into it, let me just take care of some housekeeping rules, or housekeeping announcements, rather. VoxWave.com now features a streaming radio media player on our website's front page where local artists can get their music played 24/7. For more information on getting your music in rotation or to perform live at the studio, contact Reg Gaskins on 240-832-4455. In addition, Android users, the VoxWave app is now available in the Google Play Store. Download the app today on your Android devices to listen in and view programs. Business owners, looking for a place to advertise your business and promote your products or services? VoxWave is the right place. We have over 10,000 views a day and 70,000 listeners a month. For more information, once again, contact Reg Gaskins at 240-832-4455. And finally, in support of the community, VoxWave will be collecting toiletries such as toothpaste, soap, lotion, antibacterial wipes, socks, shampoo, combs, and etc. Please drop off your donations at the station, which is located at 4711 Auth Place, Suitland, Maryland. So once again, my name is Curtis, and I will be your host for the next hour. I just would like to apologize for last week. I know a lot of you had tuned in, and unbeknownst to us, there were going to be some technical difficulties, and I just chose to shut it down for the week. The great part is that my guest from last week has cleared his schedule and offered to come back this week. So allow me to introduce to you my friend and arguably, maybe not arguably, one of the best coaches, definitely on the high school ranks, but even in the NCAA Division I ranks, my friend Mike Bozeman. Hey, Mr. Mike.
How you doing, Curtis? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for choosing to come back again this week, and I apologize as well to yourself for last week. It was obviously no fault of our own that we were not able to have the show last week. So tonight what we want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is, and I normally don't talk sports, but I felt that in the recent, let's say, transition in power in the White House and how things have been going in terms of race relations and things like that, what I've noticed, right, especially right now, Mike, and you can help me because you're probably witnessing it too. March Madness is live and kicking, right? And
best time of the year.
It absolutely is, right?
Absolutely.
But here's what I noticed. At the end of the game, especially after these miraculous wins, those young men are embracing each other.
Right.
Those young men are slapping each other high fives. There is no better sight to me than to see that unity, that coming together, if you will, after a miraculous win, as we discussed. What I'd like to do tonight is, because I've been thinking about how sports can be a uniter. And with what we have, some of the situations that we've had, like in Charlottesville, Virginia, race relations, things like that, inclusion and all of those things, I'm wondering if somehow sports can act as a bond to bring nationalities together.
Oh, it absolutely has. It's the bridge. You have white, black, you have Asian, you have different religions. It crosses all barriers, all potential barriers, and uniting through a common denominator, which is the sport that they're playing.
Sure.
Not only in the miraculous victories, but in the agony of defeat. You know, you'll see people consoling each other. You'll see the teammates lifting each other up, giving the hug. You know, and I've been a part of that. I mean, sports has been in my life my entire life.
Right.
It was the motivator for me in school. It was the motivator for my parents was, if you don't get your grades, you can't play.
Sure.
That kind of thing. So it was that kind of motivator. It was to do my chores at home. It was always that motivator. So I think with that particular person that's in the White House right now, what's his number? 45. Yeah.
Not on his jersey.
Right, right. I think that it becomes even more powerful. Mm-hmm. It's even more empowering to the people that play sports.
Sure.
That we can use that as a uniting force, and so that's what I love about sports. I use that as a platform for ministry at my high school at Riverdale Baptist. I use that as a stage for me to use the lessons that sports teaches.
Right, and that's a very good point, and I appreciate you for bringing that up. And as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, I will be remiss if I did not allow our guest to introduce himself and give us his background. So I apologize. I skipped right over that step. I think because it's an exciting show, and I just wanted to get right into it. But please tell the viewers a little bit about who you are. The levels that you've coached on, because you've already mentioned coaching and you know what you've done, what you're doing in the community. So if you would just give a little bit of information. First and foremost,
I'm Curtis Austin's friend. So no, I'm.
What kind of show is this?
Yeah, right. I'm a coach at heart. I'm a third generation coach. My grandfather coached, my father coached me.
I didn't know that.
My brother is a phenomenal coach at Morgan State, and I coached on every level except the professional level.
Right.
I started out in the grassroots of it all, and went to high school level. Had some success at Bishop McNamara. We were #1 in the country back in 2004. Got recruited to the college level thanks to Joe McEwen, who gave me my first college job.
And where is he now?
He's at Northwestern University.
Okay.
So he recruited me to come down to George Washington University. And actually, I would be remiss, that really was not my first job. My first job was at Fordham. And then Joe brought me down to George Washington. Gave me a great opportunity there, and then Joe went on to Northwestern, and I took over as the head coach at George Washington.
Okay.
So after that, in 2012, I had to step back. My contract didn't get renewed. Gave me a chance to renew myself, get back with my. You kind of the people that are close to you kind of get lost in the shuffle when you are in that coaching world like I was. And that was my wife, my beautiful wife, Wendy, who's sitting here with me now. And my kids were kind of, I don't know if you would call neglected. I don't know if I would say that. That's a harsh word. That sounds harsh coming out. Why you ain't stop me? But anyway, so I had a little time to spend with them, and then my mom got diagnosed with dementia.
Oh, okay.
So
sure.
that we were the caretakers, my family, and my brother was assistant from his home, but my mom lived with us.
Right.
And so she just passed last July, and that gave me an opportunity to get back into the arena that I love. Coach.
Wonderful, wonderful. So in your coaching travels, how have you seen sports just act as a bonder of people and a uniter, if you will, of our communities?
It's I've been all around the world coaching. I went to Brazil. I had an opportunity to go to Brazil and take a team over to Brazil, and it's funny because the language barrier gets eliminated when you're talking basketball or whatever sport it is, because there's a common thread, and that happens through language barriers. It happens through racial barriers, through religion barriers, through all kind of barriers, to male, female barriers, and that's kind of slick. That's the common denominator is the sport. So through those things, I've learned how to work hard. I've learned the value of hard work. I've learned how to be a good winner. I've learned how to be a good loser. I've learned that I like winning better.
Absolutely.
And I understand that if you don't do the process, then you cripple yourself as it relates to reaching goals and aspirations. So that's the kind of things that sports does, and the barrier piece is the biggest piece of all to me.
So how are you able, you say you've learned those things, how are you able to translate that down to, you talked about coaching on the high school level and then again with young adults on the college level. How have you been able to translate what you've learned down to these folks? And then, I don't know, had you mentioned that you coach on the ladies side?
I don't think I did. I coach on the best side.
The ladies side?
The ladies side. That's where all the fundamentals are.
We're outnumbered here in the studio, so he's repping the ladies tonight.
No, I shout out to Riverdale Baptist, Lady Crusaders. Yeah, I do coach on the women's side. I have 5 daughters. My oldest daughter was my point guard at Bishop McNamara High School. We had a team that was 12 deep, and 12 went Division I.
Oh, wow.
So my daughter was the main clog in that. She went to Georgetown University and received her degree from there. So my main pitch is always about using the sport and not letting the sport use you. And then part of that is learning all the lessons that are to be learned in the sport. And one of those is getting along, being a good teammate, what that entails in being a good teammate. Sure. And what it entails in being a winner. Does that just necessarily mean what the score is at the end of the game, or does it mean how you played the game? You know, you always hear that cliche of it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Okay, but let's win the right way. Play the right way. Give yourself a chance to win. And you develop those things that you're going to be in sport. You're going to be in life a lot longer than you will be in sport. I don't care how good you are. At a certain time, the air goes out the ball. Right. So the lessons that you learn, though, can carry you on. So now when I know how to be a teammate. So I'm an entrepreneur now. My wife and I, we're in separate fields right now, but we always work together. And so I know how to get along with people.
And sports does that.
And sports has done that for me. I know how to help someone be their better self. You know, great players always make people around them better. I know how to do that. I know how to let you, give you room so you could do your thing and I still get mine in.
What kind of person do you have to be, though, in order to receive that in playing in sports? Because I hear, as you know, and it's probably indicative just of the fact that people are going to be people, right? Because we have individuals in every industry that just don't represent the industry correctly, right? Absolutely. So even in sports, we hear of athletes, ex-athletes just going off and, we've heard some stories. Ray Caruth, for one, killing his pregnant fiance, and there are several other stories out there. But even athletes who have been at the highest levels and have just lost it all to bad decision making for whatever. What happened there? And obviously you can't speak to everything.
Right,
actually, before you jump into that, I'm going to try to take this call. It seems like we have a call coming in. Good evening, caller. You're on the air with Curtis. In the end, we win.
How are you?
Fantastic.
My name is Greg. I'm friends with Mike and Curtis. NCAA referee. And just wanted to ask Mike a question.
Sure. What's up, Greg?
What's up? So here's the question.
You don't have your referee jersey on right now, do you? You sure? I can't talk to you if you have that referee jersey on.
Yeah, let me go change clothes. Here's the question for you, because it has happened to me before. Players using the N-word. What do you do with that?
Players using the N word. What do you as the coach do with that? Well, let me ask you this, because you mentioned that you were a referee. When you hear that and the game is going on, how do you respond to that?
I can't talk to you. You have that referee. Yeah, let me go check.
Hey, Greg, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on our end or yours, but can you turn down the volume on however you are listening to the show?
Yeah, that was on my end.
Yeah, can you turn that down for me? Because I hear the feedback. A little bit.
It's down.
Okay, so how as the referee do you respond to that when you hear that on the court or on the field?
Well, as soon as I hear it, I address the coach and let the coach know what I heard, and I ask him or her to handle it, meaning take that player out the game.
Okay. Is that something that falls in your spectrum of
Authority.
control and
Yeah.
authority as a referee?
There's nothing in the rule book that talks about that, but for me, I just don't think it needs to be said.
Right. Okay. Hey, Greg, I'm gonna do this, man, because there's still some feedback. If you don't mind, we're gonna allow Mike to answer that question. How does he deal with the N-word during the game? If you don't mind hanging up and listening to the response, I'll appreciate it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Nice talking to you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.
It's that word is so loaded, and it's so commonly used in our society. I don't think it's a sport issue per se. I think because sports mirror life, I think it's a life issue, and I think that you can use sports like I've used sports and everything else as a motivator. You can use sports in being able to manage the slip of tongue or the control of what you say and how you say it. Me, myself, I've had to learn how to deal with, say, referees in a different way, in a different manner. I've had to be able to be excited and passionate about a sport I love anybody that's seen me coach know I coach with passion.
Right, sure.
And I've had to learn how to control myself in that manner. So we can use that, like Greg said, he goes to the coach, and I would most certainly allow for that. When he comes to me and says something like that to me, I would pull the player. And that doesn't end now. Now listen, if it's 10 seconds left and that's my best player and I need a bucket, I may pull the player over and say something in his ear. You know, I might pull him, but
not sit
in
there.
all respect of what's happening in the game, if the time allows, I would surely pull the player and talk. Now I'm not gonna pull a player and sit the player forever. Let's control ourselves. Let's conduct ourselves in a way that's representative of not only yourself but of God, of the university or the college or the high school that you're representing.
Sure.
And your parents, first and
Sure.
foremost.
Sure.
So that's one of the things we always talk about, is that you don't represent yourself, not just yourself, that who you represent is higher. This game is what you're doing is bigger than just yourself.
Just you, sure.
So we use that as a teachable moment.
And that's actually a great question, because one of the things that I wanted to bring up was the fact that recently, the Winter Olympics, we had teams from around the world obviously converging on South Korea. And then it was introduced that the North Korean team was going to be, or the North Koreans were sending players down to team up with the South Koreans to play and represent South Korea, or represent Korea. Actually, I don't know, who did they represent, North or South Korea?
I think they were one, right?
Yeah, but they were playing together, which was a huge show of unity, coming together, because North Korea, South Korea had been at odds with each other for years, for one reason or another. But then now here we are. Our topic tonight, sports was that denominator that opened up the lines of communication. How do you feel about that?
What other device or entity could be that powerful to supersede the bickering, the conflict that's been going on for years than sports? That gives you the power right there.
So why is that? Why sports? What else could compete with sports on that level to make a showing like that? Is there anything?
I mean, you would think it would be the church.
Oh.
You would think that the church would have that kind of power, but not at Spirit of Faith, but at other churches. Shout out to Pastor Mike Pastor Didi.
Freeman.
But at other churches, they will end Sunday church service early, so you can get to the football game, or you schedule stuff around that. You know, that's just how powerful sports is. Look at some of the most outspoken people and the most powerful people in our communities now, and their athletes. So think about the leadership over there in Korea. Mm-hmm. It meant so much to them to put their most powerful force in that Olympics, and then thought that they could do it better if they united versus staying separate. It's a powerful statement.
I wonder if that was just a way for Kim Jong-un to show that he's ready to end all of this nonsense. And that was a way, an opening for him to...
So he had to wait to the Olympics?
Yeah. You know what it is, pride.
Pride, yeah.
Character flaw. Absolutely. So here's a subtle way of him saying, I'm done, I'm ready to talk, because shortly after, they sent a delegation. I think he went and met with the South Korean delegation president, and now there's talks, and now there's supposedly talks between North Korea and the United States. So,
well, what was the conduit? The conduit was sports.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So how can that be done, here even? How do we get it right here in the United States to prevent another Charlottesville, Virginia?
Listen, though, man. We have to utilize it for the power that it is. In every hood in the United States, across the races, in every hood in the United States, they've got a playground where crime and drugs and all that stuff has to cease once you come into that area. Think about it. There's back in the day, or even currently, athletes always had a pass.
That's right.
Always had a pass, and when you have an athlete killed in one of our communities, then it's a real big deal.
It's an issue.
A real big deal. They always had a pass. They always looked out for the special athlete.
Because they wanted to see somebody from the community make it big, so they protected him or her. That's right.
Think about the colleges. Think about the NCAA. Think about, who's paying all that money to go see a science competition. Who's going to see now? The spelling bee is kind of big, but they don't do it on the college level. Mm-hmm. But who's filling arenas
for debates?
Like
debate
they are
clubs,
for basketball, for football. Football, you're getting $1 million a weekend.
See, now you get ready to go. Now we're not going to have the time for all this. Now you get ready to go into a whole different area on whether or not athletes should get paid or not. But I follow what you're saying.
But at least we're talking about the power.
Right.
And we're taught in church, you want to find out where somebody's heart is looking at their checkbook.
That's right.
So with that being said, who's buying those tickets and what are they buying them for? And the biggest time, and it's a great time for us to have this discussion, is during the NCAA tournament.
That's right.
My wife is winning our family pool right now. She's lucky with it, but let me just Just said
Lucky.
A lot
Okay.
a lot of her picks she got from me.
Or just because the uniforms look nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that too. But we're all into it.
Right.
We're all sitting around the TV. Oh, come on! At Michigan State, I picked Michigan State, and they lost. And she picked them to win that particular game. She didn't pick them to win the tournament, but we're all sitting around the TV doing that. It brings families
awesome.
together. It brings families together. It brings enemies in North and South Korea together. It's sports is it, man.
That's awesome. We're going to be taking a break here shortly. When on the other side, I'm going to want you to speak directly to an issue that you had run into where there was a player in particular that was a bit different.
Yes.
Right? So I want you to speak to that. But before we do that, how is your bracket, by the way? Well, I guess you've already put it out there because you had Michigan State. What do you think?
I've had some options to still have at least two of the final. I had Arizona get into the Final Four as well.
Okay.
And they kind of crushed me. But Michigan State lost last night. I hate going against Syracuse because that zone, you don't have enough time to figure it out. But I'm what am I? Third place? Second place? When? I'm in third place, second place?
He's in last. So what do you think of? What do you think of? How do you think of the college basketball today and where it is today, with your experience?
Wow.
And what you hear in the news and what's going on, because there's a lot going on.
It's a tough job.
As a coach or as a player?
Tough job as a coach.
Okay.
I believe in part it's tough because, you're going to put me out there, huh? In part I believe it's tough because of how our kids are. I think it's tough on because just of like how our parents are. And I don't know about the expectations coming from them. I don't know if they're confident in what they've instilled in their kids. So now I don't have to control everything from the sideline. I don't know if they have enough faith that, let your kid go through some things. I always talk about, I sound like my pastor, I'll say that. I always talk about the caterpillar, the transition into a butterfly. And that caterpillar is in that cocoon, and it's a violent transition. A violent transition. So as a parent, we would want to come over and open up that cocoon when we see that.
Sure.
To let to assist and let that butterfly out. Well, when you do that, the butterfly falls to the ground and dies. Why? Because this power and the strength that it needed to bust out a cocoon is exactly what it needed to fly. And sometimes as parents, we try to help our kids so much, we don't let them go through the things that would teach them lessons.
That's good.
And part of that is what coaches have to give them. And sometimes it's tough love. And sometimes you don't get to play all the minutes you want to because you don't never know what happened at practice and the lead up to that. But sometimes parents won't let coaches teach those lessons. And I think that's what a major problem is. That's why you get all the transfers. That's why you get those kind of things.
So you see that? I can imagine, because I am the parent of a college athlete.
A very good one, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. And it started when he was very young. And do you see parents getting that involved even on the college level?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. You got, especially on the men's side, you have people going pro when they shouldn't. You have people, jumping out there thinking, and some of that's motivated by what they're hearing, the people that are in their ear. They're not trusting the process. And some of that is from parenting, some of it from their little entourages on the side. Not so much in women's basketball because, the dollar is not is pulling to women.
Not as lucrative in women's sports as it is.
In America anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So you absolutely see that on the college side. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And you see some delusional people doing that as well.
Really?
Yeah, that's why you got all those kids. All they see is the people getting drafted. You know? How many teams are in the NBA?
So is it in
teams?
essence, are they chasing money, or are they just chasing this idea that their kid can be a superstar, or
it's almost
what?
like a lottery ticket. You know,
So
because the money is so big, and it's
The parents are pimping the kids, huh?
oh wow. You the host. I can't say
Hey,
that.
man, it is.
I would, yeah, I would. But I mean, you know, when we're off air, I would say that.
Right. He vouched for it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's interesting because I've seen it even on the AAU level, where we tried to be as committed to the one team as long as the coaches were of a certain character and of a certain wherewithal as it pertained to the coaching aspect, right? But then, you know, we saw other players who would go from team to team to team to team to team. And I think a lot of that is because parents hear, just as you said, hear that this team is supposed to be the best. So let me take my son over here to try out with them, thinking that that's going to give them an edge up, when in actuality, your son can go over there and still ride the bench and not get any playing time at all.
You know, I don't want to just make it sound like I'm just blaming it all on the parents, because there is a responsibility for coaching. Like you said, as long as the coach is studying and putting the kids first and making sure the kids fundamentally are growing, are learning the game, are learning the values of the game and all the lessons that come with the game. You know, there's a responsibility for coaches to do that as well. There's a lot of times that a coach can get kids to do things that their parents can't. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know how many countless times I've had parents come to me and say, "Can you talk to so and so about this, because they won't listen to me?" And then, you know, I make that a part of the conversation related to basketball or related to the sport, and then it ends up happening. So, but back to speak about AAU, it's funny to me that they do that, skipping around, thinking that one program can give you more than the other program. Yeah. Because the college coaches are going to find you. They're coming to the same tournament. Whether you plan on, they think that if you plan on the winning team, more college coaches are going to see you. Right. They coming to watch you play basketball. So play it the right way, and that's the responsibility of coaches, is to play it the right way, to teach them the right way to play, and this is how you get to where you want to go. Right.
Wow. So this is what we're going to do. I'd like to open up the phone lines. We're going to be taking a break here in the next minute. We're going to be taking a break now, rather. But I'd like to open up the phone lines to anyone who has any questions, comments, or concerns. The phone number to dial in is 240-719-2560. You'll be live, so do us a favor and turn down the device that you are watching the show on or listening to the show on. That way we don't get that feedback in the back. But we have an awesome opportunity to ask a Division I level coach, as well as a high school winning successful coach, live in the studio. If you have any questions, comments, or concern, I encourage you to call in 240-719-2560. This is In the End We Win with Curtis, and we will be right back. Thank you. Oh, we're back. Great. Okay, so you're back to In the End We Win with Curtis. My name is Curtis Austin. This is our guest, Michael Bozeman. And just before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about parents and how the parents interact with their children, some of the things that you've seen as a coach with parents. I'd like to just point out that a friend of mine, Brandon C. Banks out of Atlanta, has written a book here recently called Bigger Than Ballin', and it's the parental playbook on raising a student athlete. So I encourage you all to go out, all of you parents out there who's raising smaller children and coming up through the ranks, go to Amazon right now and pick up Bigger Than Ballin' by Brandon C. Banks. I think you're going to find that book to be very interesting, and more than that, it's going to be very helpful. So we talked about also in the first half of the show about inclusion and how sports can break down barriers and things like that. There was a situation that you ran into which was unique, to say the least, on the college ranks, and I'm not even sure if you have spoken about this on a grand scale like this. You know, people are able to view this around the world, and we salute you all. To our military personnel, we salute you, say good evening.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your service, absolutely. But if you're comfortable with sharing that situation, I think that it is an interesting story, an amazing story, and one that a lot of folks may not even have heard and be privy to.
I have not spoken about this publicly. And I'm comfortable doing it in in this setting with you and amongst
cool, I
my
appreciate
family. I was the first Division I coach to have a transgender athlete on the team, and that's nothing in my book to be celebrated or proud about or ashamed of in that degree. I think it's more an accomplishment for the individual that went through
it.
That was going through it. And if I could have been a lesser ingredient in that whole issue or whole situation, I would have rather been that.
To do that.
But it just so happened that I got thrust into the forefront of it as having to speak to it, as if I recruited the individual because of their transgender aspirations, and I didn't, obviously. But
you inherited the player,
the
athlete,
right? I was a part of the recruitment, but I was assistant coach then. So, but to give it a short synopsis of it, it was a young lady on our team, and she was going through, college to me is a place where you explore, where you find yourself.
Who you are.
That and I have two daughters at Morgan State University right now. Shout out to the Bears. That I'm excited for them to learn what they should and shouldn't do, for them to be out there on their own, for them to grow, to see what areas they want to get into. So there are some teachable moments and learning times that go into that. And I believe this person happened to have been searching, for that in with his sexuality. Okay. Yeah, I've learned that too. The gender is now a male.
A male. Oh wow.
Right. So here I am, this guy who's totally ignorant to, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I was totally ignorant to the transgender community. Totally. I mean, I had heard of transsexuals, I've heard of homosexuals, obviously, and but I had no clue about the transgender community. And then so unprepared as I was thrust into the forefront
Wow. So
of that situation.
let's hold that thought. Looks like we have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. You're on with Curtis and Mike Bozeman. Caller? Good evening. Okay. We'll please try back 240-719-2560. So continue on.
At the time it was a she. So she was made it known that she wanted to transition to male. And being in a woman's sport, you could just imagine the controversy with
unfairness,
taking the necessary
hormone
medicines or whatever to make that transition.
Sure.
So there was a real brouhaha, so to speak, that arose, a big news conferences and all that, all the such, and here I am, this guy that did not know about I'm talking about 24 hours before. I'm in front of cameras speaking on it as if I'm some expert about it.
Right.
Thrust in front of that. Now, I am who I am, and part of who I am is the whole piece of who I am is as a Christian man.
Okay.
Who loves God, who believes in the Bible wholeheartedly.
Right. Amen.
So, and then so then I'm getting blamed for being who I am. And it's kind of funny to me how we're talking about someone coming out and being comfortable who they are, but I'm told I can't be who I am.
Ooh.
So we're talking about the rights of everyone else, or everyone, so to speak, and now you're telling this Christian man, and this person asked me my opinion. So then we're tight. A coach and a player's relationship is tight. It's close to brother, sister, in some regards, uncle, in some regards, father, daughter, or father, son. So
especially the way you do it, because you invite players into your home. And
have done that.
That may be why you guys are successful.
Have done that, successful. Right.
Yeah.
So with that, at the time it was a she, so she was asking me my opinion. As much as I tried to shuck that away, like, listen, this is, in my opinion, doesn't matter, boom, boom, but she was requesting that. And our relationship demanded that I be truthful with her, with who I am. Now, why would you ask me that? And she knew who I was.
What you represent.
That time.
Sure.
And so I didn't hide that, So when she asked that question and I answered it, that became a battle cry, so to speak, for certain individuals in the media and in the media, I'll say that, and so I got attacked about that, and it's funny. I spoke to my pastor before the news conference, and he warned me of that. He said, "Don't," and I didn't come out on the news and say, "Hey, this is, I think this is whatever opinion that would render." But I'm raised to believe that it's not my job to change anyone. It's God's job. It's my job to love everyone. So for anyone that thinks that I sat there in a judgment position and to convict her, give her any conviction, or him any conviction at this point, any conviction, they didn't know who I was and what I represented. And so then they jumped to that conclusion, you can't be that way, but you want people to come out, but I can't come out.
Right.
So I felt that at that time. I mean, there's a lot of emotions that go into when you have to be quiet while other people roar.
Sure.
And no hate from me to anyone that took a negative position, and no hate from me to his name is Kai Allams. No hate for me from him, towards him. None of that. But there's a story and there's a history that went on the other side of that, and it affected my family. It affected me. It affected my career. To some degree, I was labeled anti-gay.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not anti anything.
Right.
I'm anti-Satan.
Right.
But
Right.
I haven't seen Satan. You know.
Right.
I just, I'm about my Father's business, and that's loving, and that's accepting, and I leave all the changing and all that stuff, all the judging to Him.
So looking back at it, is there anything today that you would have done differently?
That's a great question. But I didn't think I did anything wrong.
Right.
In the first place, I thought I was perceived wrong.
Not when you are staying true to who you are.
Right. I thought I was perceived wrong. I thought I was, when people was trying to jump on me about judging, I thought I was being judged.
True.
And I thought that, people with the pen and who had, websites, and people were able to, utilize those devices to speak and to condemn and to judge, do the same things that they were, accusing of me. They were doing that to me, and it really affected my family. But in the end, we win.
That's right. That's right.
In the end,
that's right.
In church this weekend, they said when something that's true meets the truth, then in the end, you win. So when true met the truth, which is the word, then it all comes full circle. And I'm stronger for it. My wife and my family, and we're all stronger for it. We're tighter. Our bond has never been broken, and it's just increased us. So I'm back in it. I'm here in more powerful position. I'm here to empower the youth that I come in contact with.
Good.
I'm at a place called Riverdale Baptist, where I'm not a Baptist myself, but I get to pray with my team. I get to unashamedly be a Christian man and shout out, who gets all the glory.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. And I appreciate you for sharing that. And this show is designed to highlight the good. Well, the show is designed to allow individuals tell their story. And because I know I know that everyone has a story, right? However, it's what's done after the story or during the story that makes the person. Right. So our show, In the End We Win, is designed to allow, have individuals come on, tell their story, but then also give that, little bit of what they've learned from the story, what they're doing now. So with all of that you've learned through sports, through your dad, because I know your relationship with your dad, and you are back on the high school level. You're back on the high school level.
Yep.
And the impact that you're having with this group of kids is what? The impact that you're having with this group of kids today is what?
The talent is never enough. That we studied a book this year. I had an awesomely talented team, arguably one of the most talented teams in the country, and we were ranked high in the country all year. But what this particular group needed to learn was that talent is never enough. And we were reading a book by John Maxwell, and I'm telling you guys, make sure
he's
you
got
get
a
that.
series. That's what he does. He's got a series of,
And they talk about the intangibles, everything else that makes you a talent plus person.
Sure.
And the plus being the addition of the intangibles with your talent, and how being coachable, you know, being working hard, you know, because less talent beats more talent when less talent works hard and more talent doesn't. You know what I mean? So those kind of things. So what I would do is I would pull out chapters of the book and I would assign that to the team.
Okay.
And I would ask them to write a summary and they would text it to me in our little group.
Okay.
And it was awesome. It was.
Everyone bought in. Everyone was participating.
By the end of the season, we probably were truly the best team. And it was hard to beat us in the end because we were bonded. I think the lessons were learned. The one thing that student athletes can get out of watching the NCAA tournament is every team that's there, they bought in. They bought into their coaches. They bought into the process. They bought into the system. Because at that point, that's the best of the best. And now you're in this tournament. You're watching everybody do their schemes and their strategies, and they all think their strategies is going to be the one that wins it.
Sure.
And so that's why you see upsets, because the difference in the beginning of the year, it's all about talent.
Okay.
And as the year goes on, it's all about who's bought in, it's about the synergies that's within the
Sure.
team.
Yep.
So now you got a balance.
That balance beam starts to
it starts to even out. So now, quote unquote, lesser talented teams can beat quote unquote more talented teams because they play better together.
Wow.
Or they, and then on any given night, anybody can be beat. That's the beauty of the NCAA tournament. Man, I could talk about this all night. That's the beauty of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Man. And that's where I want to get. That's where I want to get players to. And that's the enthusiasm that I bring to coaching, that coaching gives to me. It's like, wow, man, I get to impact these people, these young people, and it's so rewarding when parents, allow me
step back,
allow me the room to impact, and I take that responsibility. I pray on it every night. I thank God for that platform, and I pray that He empowers me to speak to them, but as a vessel, that Him speaking to them through me. So that's what I've learned, man. I've learned that, I can't be stopped by what people say. It's just not going, and all the evil things that people say, and you hear what Michelle Obama would say, you hear what Oprah would say, and about the light, being the light in the darkness, and how light conquers dark, and dark can't, all those kind of things, and when you really come around to it, what really matters is your soul, and when God is in it, man, and you're doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
It's
wonderful.
So it gave me an opportunity to come back to high school, man. I relish the opportunity. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying myself.
Sure.
I think my family is, when you get Mike Bozeman, man, you get a crew, because my wife is going to be in there, and she's going to, if we need her, if she needs to mop the floor, she will. You know what I'm saying? And then my kids say that they're going to be the loudest fans in the building, and my daughter's going to sit there next to me and, get mad when I call the wrong plays and all that stuff.
And that's a good point, because one of these days I'm trying to put together a show where we have a panel of husbands and wives, and we're just going to talk, because I know you guys have an awesome story as to how you met, but now you guys are 23 years into?
24
years into it. Yeah, and
She
you guys
she look like she's 24 years old.
You guys are always together, and it's stuff just like that,
Yeah,
that I've recognized you guys do a lot, and that's great.
And that's one thing I learned as well, because it was at a point there where it almost felt like she was a single parent when I was coaching in college.
Why is that? Because you were gone
I
so
was
often.
gone. I felt like my kids told me. Well, I'm thinking after it all went down, I'm thinking they're gonna come and love up Daddy, and we had like a come to Jesus moment. Where they was like, when you was home, you wasn't home. When they want to spend time with me, they needed to watch film. That way we could watch TV together. And I'm watching film, and they won't watch film or basketball, man.
Right.
So, but that kind of humbled me and brought me back. Planted my feet back on see what was really important to me. And so if I can't take them with me, I ain't going.
Wonderful. So before we wrap this up, now you guys had created a few nonprofit organizations. Can you talk a little bit about that? And are they still going on? Are you still giving back to the communities, not just in your coaching, but then also in other ways? Because we always want to highlight how our viewers can take part in or participate with any of our guests. And if you guys have anything going on right now, any organizations that you'd like to present to our viewers, please do. This is your opportunity, whatever it may be, or even just the school and your coaching.
Well.
Uh-oh. Before you do that, I apologize. It looks like we have a caller. Good evening, caller. You're on the line with Curtis. Hello. You heard him when they hung up? Okay. Okay, so if you have anything that you would like to plug right now, please do. This is an opportunity for you.
I think I'm just going to plug Riverdale Baptist right now. I think that's our latest venture. We'll have basketball camps in the summer, in August, the whole month of August, the first 3 weeks of August. We'll have basketball camps from 7:30 to 4 o'clock at Riverdale Baptist.
Open to the public?
Open to the public. What you'll get is you'll get fundamental training. You'll get great guest speakers. You'll get competition. You'll learn. You'll understand about how to apply the fundamentals into the actual game settings. You'll get great food, because my wife is going to be making over top of that. You'll get all former college players as the counselors, and we take great pride in that, and we take that so seriously because it's an opportunity for us to give back.
Sure.
It's an opportunity for us to really teach the game in the way that it should be taught. It's an opportunity for young kids to be under a quality coach.
Absolutely.
And other coaches that I bring in there. And so come support, help me to help you support your kids in this great sport of basketball over at Riverdale Baptist.
Yeah, and just keep listening. I know he mentioned August, and we're a few months away from that, but we'll continue to promote that as we get closer. So definitely. So what's the end game for you as we wrap up here? What's the end game for Mike Bozeman and coaching?
The end game for me is to maximize right where I am. I don't have any crystal ball about where I'm going with the coaching piece. I'm going to go where God leads me with it. I'm definitely here I have so much wisdom and so much to give into the sport, and I want to give it all. And I want to give it all to whoever wants it, and that's my end game.
That's your end, and that's the end game for you?
That's the end game for me. I appreciate this opportunity.
Man, an hour just seems to fly.
It flew by, man.
And that's how it always is when you have good. I don't want this to be a can, as you guys notice. I don't ever have questions written down. I just allow the conversations to flow. I think you guys benefit the most from that, where you are hearing it live, straight from the guest. And I appreciate you. So We're going to wrap it up tonight. We're going to, thank our guest, Mike Bozeman. As a matter of fact, how did you all do this year?
We were 23-5.
23-5. Okay.
Yeah. We had some games that was canceled. I got ill for a minute.
Right.
I think we were arguably the best team in the country. We played the toughest schedule in the country.
Okay.
And
okay, we're going to take this phone call. Caller, you have 1 minute. You're on the line live. Do me a favor. Turn the device down that you're listening to the show on, if you don't mind, and listen straight into your phone. Listen to your phone.
Yes, how you doing? My name is Keith Johnson. I was just giving a call. I wanted to validate everything Coach was saying. He coaches my daughter in AAU. Lady Prime Marissa Coleman, and I think he does a great job with the girls. And even though we're not with him like at Riverdale, he still have conversations with my daughter about the game and even about life if we need him to, to have a conversation. And I tell him all the time about his wife. He has a wonderful wife that's always there with him.
Yes, yeah.
Stop looking at my wife, man. Thanks a lot, Keith. Appreciate it.
No problem. And somebody just talked to you the other day, didn't they? Jerry?
Yeah.
He said that made a lot of good comments about you.
Appreciate that.
He just called me today and told me.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, sir. We appreciate you calling in.
No problem.
All right. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to wrap it up right there. Thank you all for tuning in. And again, this is the In the End We Win. And I pray that all of the guests, all of the conversations that we deliver to you all is helpful, to say the least, useful, and if nothing else, there's something that you may hear that you can learn. So I am your host, Curtis Austin. We will be right back here next week, 8:15 sharp. And I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful week. Love ya. Before